9.62%. Where else can you get that type of yield? But there are some things to know. Today we are discussing I bonds. Stay tuned. Hi there, it's Alex and Anthony from 1 Degree Advisors. Today we are discussing Series I savings bonds. They are set to pay 9.62%. So Anthony, why are we talking about this?
Yeah, first the comparison. We all know that savings yields are very low. Even high yield savings accounts such as Ally Bank still paying 0.5% around that as interest rates have increased. 10-year treasury notes, depending on the day you look, about 2.8%. So if we're talking about savings bonds, Series I, that are paying currently 7.12% and are set to increase to 9.62%. That's a huge difference.
So let's do a really brief breakdown on how these interest rates are calculated. Basically, you're left with two components, right? So you have the fixed rate, which is currently 0, and then the inflation rate, which is variable. So if you buy I bonds right now in the month of April when we're recording, you could get 7.12% for 6 months. And then in the next 6 months, you can get 9.62%. So over the course of the year, that's a total of 8.37%. And that's in that first year, of course, excluding any penalties.
Right, that's right. So if you buy in the current window before the reset on May 1, that's 7.12%. And then, as you said, it's scheduled to go up to 9.62%. So that's a good average, especially over a full year, 8.37%.
Now, if you wait until May's rate change, right? So if you wait until May to buy, really what you're looking at is 9.62% for 6 months. And then after that 6 months, really that's when it's undetermined, right? You don't exactly know what your rate will look like after that 6 months. So Kitsis has put together a really nice chart just showing, basically the issue of the month that you buy the bond and then when those new rates take effect. So again, really helpful just to see that in a chart format.
Yeah, certainly. So if people are buying in the next window after May 1, and a lot of viewers will be watching this video after that point, 9.62%, and then 6 months down the road, they get the new rate. Many people are still predicting inflation to be high, so it's probably still going to be a good
Now
rate.
again, Series I bonds, great deal, really good rates, especially with inflation where it's at right now. But of course, liquidity is always something that you have to think about when you're looking at I bonds.
Yeah, these timeframes are really important because under 1 year, there is no liquidity. So you really have to know that you want to keep that money in the bonds for at least 1 year because you can't get it back out. Now, after 1 year, you get a little bit of flexibility. In between 1 year and 5 years, you still get the interest, but you're penalized the last 3 months of interest, which even if you're giving that up with such high rates, it's really not that bad of a deal.
Some interest paid at the bank.
Yeah, exactly. And then after 5 years, up until the full 30-year maturity, there's no penalty. It's redeemable at the current value. And so if you're keeping it at that point, if rates stay high and you keep the money invested there, then that could be a good deal.
Now, a lot of people, when they talk about I bonds, they'll talk about the limits. Right. So the way I bonds work is that you're limited to $10,000 per person / entity in the calendar year. So what I like to think about is let's say you have a family of 4, right? Yeah. You, your wife, and 2 kids in the house. You could theoretically buy $40,000 worth of Series I savings bonds.
Yeah. So it's based on who's actually being like the gift recipient. So if you are buying it for your kids, as long as it's just one per person. And you can buy these through treasurydirect.gov. We'll post a link in the comments there. That's where you can buy it. You can also buy the savings I bonds through tax refunds, through the federal tax refund, up to $5,000 per tax return, and that's issued in the form of a paper bond.
And the paper bond is different than the electronic bond because the electronic bond, I believe, can be partially redeemed, whereas the paper bond, that has to be fully redeemed. So there is less flexibility with the paper there.
There is, yeah. But it's one way to get a little bit more if you really like that yield and want to put cash to work.
So how should people be thinking about these? I mean, to me, this is really almost like a CD, right? That certificate deposit, a lot of people are very familiar with. If you don't need the cash for a year, this can be a really good tool. It can, allow for value preservation. And honestly, the rate is just hard to beat. It's really attractive in this current environment.
It is, and that's where you want, because of that 1 year minimum, you can't totally think about it as just an emergency reserve because you can't get to it right away. But if you know you have a savings goal that is more than a year away, maybe you're saving for a wedding or you're saving for college tuition or something else where you're not going to need that money for at least a year, it can be a great way to put your money to work.
Absolutely. And now let us know what you think. Are you interested in Series I savings bonds, and have you bought them in the past? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.